For the second consecutive week, it's either a very late Friday night or a very early Saturday morning. You know what that means. Another brand new episode of the Kicking Out Podcast. I'm Tanner Lee with my co-host Paul Zartman. Back at it again, Paul. Late night.
Friday nights, man. I'm telling you.
July 7th cannot come soon enough when Dynamite gets back to the regular scheduled programming on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on TNT.
Which means we'll be back at 10 o'clock Wednesday night on the
Yes,
Kicking Out Podcast.
absolutely. It looks like next week was another Friday night one. It's either going to be myself solo or I'll grab somebody out there from the Kicking Out Nation to join us, or to join me, I should say. And then the following 2 weeks, I believe, is Saturday shows. Not sure what time yet, though.
No, they have not announced the times yet, at least. So
Yeah,
we could be doing this Sunday mornings.
it could be. It's kind of like, wow, we've changed our schedule a lot since we kicked this podcast off in January, but that's what our podcast is about, covering Dynamite for the most part. So with their schedule, when it goes, our schedule goes. So
Yep. We started getting that groove right after Dynamite on Wednesday nights, and then Dynamite goes, "Oh, hey, by the way, we're going to Friday nights at 10 o'clock."
Of course. But this makes me really excited for next year's transition to TBS, because I don't think we'll have to worry about these interruptions of scheduling, I should say.
No, because I think I've said it in the past. I think TBS will be smart enough to say, hey, we're going to do the Wednesday nights as an off night for postseason baseball.
Yeah, and even if it is baseball, it might interfere with one Dynamite, maybe. Not 4 in a row, 5 in a row, which AEW knew this when they signed the contract with TNT, that this was going to happen. I think they were just ready to roll with the punches, but it's just unfortunate when you start rolling with momentum and then constantly changing. I know the rating was an all-time low last Friday night, and I'm interested to see how this Friday night's rating is, because it was a decent card, but it wasn't one of their best ones they've ever put together.
No.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But I did like how the show started tonight. That was the Young Bucks versus Pac and Penta El Zero Miedo. Last week I said it was the Lucha Bros, because I believe that's what they originally advertised.
Yes.
At Double or Nothing. Because I remember initially being pretty surprised that Rey Fenix was going to be back. And of course he was not.
Right. And so it was nice that they kind of played off of that and, said the Young Bucks attacked him earlier today or something. Mm-hmm. And that's what led to Pac stepping into his shoes.
What did you think about Frankie Kazarian coming right out and going after Michael Nakazawa?
I am all for this Frankie, I got to say. I love the aggression that he's got, the elite hunter, as they've now named him. I think it's a good gimmick, and I think he's going to go far with it.
Yeah, I agree. It's something fresh and new for him, for sure. Good direction they're heading in there. So, but this matchup's just like everybody that's listening and watching presumed it would be. High-flying action. These two teams know each other very well. Well, I say two teams, really, Pac hadn't been involved with the Young Bucks too much, so I guess I kind of take that statement back. But Penta El Zero Miedo definitely has been through his history with the Bucks. But fun match back and forth. Brandon Cutler, we saw him getting involved. We saw him shining Matt's very expensive shoes, being their young boy, like he's so-called so many times on being the elite. I missed about the first 3 minutes of this match.
Me
to
too.
be honest, when I was walking in the door. But we also saw the Young Bucks try to rip off Penta's mask at one point, and Nick Jackson did get Penta's mask off, but he had another mask underneath it, learning from the mistake of his brother Rey Fenix a couple months ago now, when the Young Bucks took his mask off.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in commentary on that fact, because they said a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, it's been longer than that.
Mm-hmm. I'd say it's a couple months ago now, which I guess could be a couple weeks ago. I don't know what their definition of a couple is, but we saw Mexican destroyers in this match. We saw Canadian destroyers, a whole bunch of things, but
kicks, flips,
flips, yep, all that. But in the end, the Young Bucks get the win thanks to Brandon Cutler's interference.
Yeah, with the camera at that.
Yep. So I'm sure that'll be focused on being the Elite next week. Mm-hmm. Post-match, the Young Bucks continue to beat down of Penta and Pac, but Eddie Kingston ran out and even the odds for the Death Triangle. And the Bucks and Brandon Cutler retreated to the ramp. What did you think about Kingston saving kind of his former teammates? Not Pac, but Penta was in the Eddie Kingston, his family.
Yeah. Well, I kind of thought what Eddie said later on in the show, which is, these guys share a common enemy, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And Eddie kind of alluded to that later on in the show. Sorry for the spoiler on that one, but
that's all right.
I enjoyed the fact that Eddie and I had the same thought process, at least for once. So,
and you brought up to the fact, Paul, through text message, that the crowd's behind Eddie right now pretty heavily.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell, sadly, that the crowd was tired because of how late it was, but still cheering on Eddie when he walked out and cheered him on through the attack and as he left.
Yep. We then got first appearance from a new acquisition of AEW, Mark Henry, the Hall of Famer, the WWE Hall of Famer, Mark Henry. He's going to be doing commentary on AEW Rampage, which I think Tony Khan pretty much gave away who's going to be his partner in commentary without giving it away. He said it's going to be a wrestler on our roster who's had experience doing commentary. Is very good. Well, that boils it down to a few people. Read between the lines, it's going to be Chris Jericho.
Yep. So I think those two will do great on commentary together. Mm-hmm. They've always had a good working relationship with each other. Yep. I haven't had a chance to hear Mark Henry on commentary, so I'm looking forward to that. But Jericho is excellent.
I haven't heard Mark Henry call a match either, but I have heard him many times weekly, really, on Busted Open Radio on Sirius XM, and he does a great job on that. So, which he mentioned tonight in his promo, which Tony Schiavone welcomed him to AEW. Said he's going to be part of Rampage starting August 13th. Mark said he's excited to be part of the AEW team. He promises to give it his all each and every week. I thought it was interesting. Schiavone asked him if he plans to learn wrestling. Mark says at the moment he's focused on commentary and coaching, but he did mention that he has a lot left in the tank. The crowd popped for that. Then all of a sudden we hear Vicky Guerrero's shrieking.
Excuse me.
Yeah, shrieking voice that can break glass. She interrupts his welcoming. She tells both of them to get out of the ring. Tonight, Vicky has a big announcement to make. I'm like, okay, what's this going to be? She says a new and generational luchador is here and wants everybody to know it. It's the man formerly known as Andrade.
Yes.
Andrade El Idolo?
The Idol.
The Idol.
That's I noticed JR was struggling.
Oh, JR butchered it so bad.
That's it. When JR butchered it, I went, I'm not even going to try that. And then Excalibur's like, it just means for now. The Idol.
Yeah, sticking with Andrade for now. Andrade pretty much wanted everyone to know that he is the new face of AEW, and AEW put up the graphic. Andrade is all elite. What a big signing, Paul.
I know. I'm glad it wasn't at the pay-per-view. And I think the way it played out tonight, I even texted you this, it was absolutely fantastic because you weren't sure what Vicky said because everybody was booing her. And so until he walked out, you weren't sure exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah, I heard the Andrade part. I'm like, wait, did she just say Andrade? Like, did I hear that correct? And then he walked out, and I saw a few people complaining that not only he, but also Mark Henry not having any interest music. I kind of like that tonight, or at least for Andrade. Maybe not for Henry. Maybe they just don't have any picked out for Henry yet. I don't know.
Right. I texted you. I said, I think they forgot to tell the music guy Mark Henry was coming.
Yeah, so I'm sure next time we see him, he'll have some music because Paul White's music is just the music for Elevation.
Mm-hmm.
That theme song is his theme song, so it's probably
Yep.
what. Actually, to be honest, Paul, it's probably whatever the theme song for Rampage is going to be Henry's music. That's probably
Yep.
why they haven't done it yet. So
Of course, for so many years, Mark Henry had the same one. So, Tony introduced Mark Henry, and in my head, it was just sitting there playing. And I'm like, well, that's not even right. We can't do that now.
I think the signing of Andrade, in my opinion, makes it even more logical for him to go over Omega at Triple Mania and win the AAA title.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see those two go at it in AEW, though. Like either before or after. Like, okay, say they do the Triple Mania for the title, Andrade wins, and then Kenny comes on to AEW and says, I want my rematch, and we get it on AEW in some form.
It's interesting that Andrade debuts tonight because yesterday there was a report that he and Charlotte Flair had some good news, and it wasn't really reported what it was. A lot of people were speculating a baby on the way, something in regards to that, and he appears on Dynamite tonight. So
yeah, a lot of interesting things going on that I cannot wait to get to after we recap Dynamite.
Yeah, absolutely. Next match, we saw Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson of the Nightmare Factory, or Nightmare Family, I should say. Yeah, Factory and Family both. Against the Factory, Anthony Go-Go and QT Marshall. Interesting match here. Of course, we had Rhodes and a Go-Go trying to refresh their brawl from Double or Nothing on Sunday. They're going at it right away. And then we get some picture-in-picture, which I'm never the biggest fan of picture-in-picture. I thought this match had a lot of hard-hitting spots.
It did. I was very impressed with Johnson. I mean, he's still rather green and doesn't really win a whole lot of matches. And a Go-Go, this was match 4 for him. Mm-hmm. So I was really impressed with those two. I mean, I knew QT and Cody were going to do good stuff, but to see the younger guys kind of become the focus of the match and hit a lot of good spots really helps put them over.
Yeah, we saw Go-Go come in with a nice frog splash, break up the hold. Looked like he got a part of Cody's nose a little bit. Yeah. Marshall trapped Cody with a diamond cutter. Right after that, Lee Johnson came down on Marshall, but Marshall also hit Cody. Looked like it might have dazed Cody a little bit to break up the pinfall. Lee Johnson and Go-Go spilled out to the outside. That was a hard fall too. Looked like a Go-Go landed hard on down on the ground there. Then Cody was looking for Crossroads, but Aaron Solo came up and distracted Bryce Remberg, the referee. Go-Go then ran in and knocked Cody out cold with a right hook right on the chin. QT Marshall, who was the legal man, picked up the pinfall victory. And, of course, he had to let everybody know about it post-match.
Yeah. All I could think of was, I did it, Mick. But anyway.
Yeah.
Especially the little segment with Tony. I think Tony looked so confused in that it was absolutely fantastic. Like, I never said this about you. What are you going on about?
Right. It's hard to tell sometimes if Shivani knows what's coming or not, which is good. I mean, that's what you want out of a commentator. Big upset win for the Factory. The right team went over, though, I think, for the storyline.
Oh, absolutely. If Cody would have picked up the victory here, it would have just ended the storyline, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep. We then get an Inner Circle victory lap celebration. Jericho began the segment by surprising the fans with free T-shirts. Everybody got a free T-shirt underneath their seat, and Paul's like, "What the heck? I want a free T-shirt."
Yeah, I checked under my seat. There wasn't one there.
Yeah, there wasn't one under mine either. So the crowd roared in excitement for that. Jericho handed the microphone off to Sammy Guevara, who he announced as the winner of the match for the team on Sunday. Sammy, I liked how he was talking about doing 630 splashes off the roof at his mother's house growing up, and she always told him to get down, so that's how he got down, was doing 630 splashes. He went from doing that to doing it in a big pay-per-view like Double or Nothing in the main event. Thought that was pretty cool. I think they're really grooming Sammy for a singles push.
Oh, absolutely. It's coming, and I think the first stop will be that TNT title, and then on to the World Heavyweight after that.
I think the first thing will be Sean Spears' single feud.
Oh, well, yeah, but I think that could be part of the Pinnacle feud still.
Yeah. Santana promised the feud with the Pinnacle's far from over. Said, FTR tried to end their careers with the spike pile drivers through the table on last week's Dynamite, and he said they don't forget. Hager called out Wardlow, challenged him to an MMA style fight in 2 weeks on Dynamite. What are your thoughts about that, Paul?
Interested to see this. We're seeing a lot of things in AEW that we might not see anywhere else, or similar, but we haven't seen them in so long that it seems like it's something brand new. I'm looking forward to it because, I mean, Hager was right. He hasn't lost in an MMA fight yet.
Yeah, this takes me back to Attitude Era, Ken Shamrock. I want to say it was against Owen Hart in a MMA style cage match.
You might be right.
I know they did one in Stu's Dungeon. That was Owen and Shamrock.
Yes.
But I feel like then they also did one in a MMA style cage. I know Shamrock was in it. I'm pretty sure it was Owen, but I could be wrong. And sorry for everybody if I'm mistaken. It's late and I just don't remember right now off the top of my head without looking it up. I could do that pretty easily, but I don't want to. So yeah,
at least you're honest.
I'm looking forward to that too. I think it's going to be a fun style match. Definitely different. Yeah. Then Jericho concluded the segment by promising that he'll beat MJF for all the carnage he's caused them, which I was kind of telling you the other night on our post Double or Nothing show. I thought that's where this was going to go, a match between those two.
Yeah. I think it needs to be the last one. I think we need to see like the Hager Wardlow and then Pride and Powerful versus FTR and then Sammy and Sean. And then we get MJF and Jericho.
Agreed. It's time for all of them to kind of have their single feuds, their tag feuds, and move on.
Yep.
Move on. End it by the time about August rolls around or so, but by the time the summer ends.
I'd be okay with carrying it to All Out and finishing it at All Out.
Yeah, that's probably what they'll do, honestly. Now that you bring that up.
Let everybody do their one-on-one or tag matches and then maybe end it with another 5-on-5 something or other. Yeah. And that be that.
We then see Orange Cassidy. Pretty much they're telling us that he's far from done with Kenny Omega. And Kenny Omega and Don Callis are in the control room, and they're not sweating over Jungle Boy and his challenge in 3 weeks, which got changed today. Tony Khan announced that on Busted Open today. It was supposed to be next week. I'm glad they're giving it a few weeks to marinate. That's something we've talked about numerous times on the show. Is too many times, too often they rush things. They rush the build. Now we're getting at least a few weeks of a build.
Yeah. And I think it'll show what we've been saying all along is it'll make the match mean something more than just a shot at title.
Yes.
It'll involve it or evolve it a little more.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of making that match more worthwhile, we had Jungle Boy and Christian Cage teaming up together tonight to face Private Party, who also, of course, had their leader, Matt Hardy of the Hardy Family Office, along ringside with them. Pretty good match here. A lot of back and forth, like I always say in tag matches. I will say one thing about Private Party. I don't care for their ring attire.
No. JR clearly didn't either. He mentioned like 4 or 5 times they're wearing Gucci belts.
Well, they remind me the way they dress a lot fancier edition of the Right to Censor.
Yes.
Even though the Right to Censor had the ties, but it was just the white button ups and the khaki pants.
So are they the Right to Party then?
Right, I like that, the Right to Party. But we were talking in text message, ever since they got this partnership with Matt Hardy, they just haven't been the same. I kind of liked what they did with the Impact stuff for a little bit when they went over there. And ever since that ended, they just kind of been an afterthought to me. I mean, this was a team that beat the Young Bucks in one of the very first Dynamites back in 2019.
Eliminated them in round 1 of the tag title tournament.
Yeah.
So, and now they're kind of, in a sense, they're not, I don't want to say they're jobbing because they're clearly undefeated. Well, they were leading up to this match with Matt Hardy as their manager, if you want to call it that. But really, what are they doing?
Yeah, I don't know. And you know, I did think Christian and Jungle Boy looked good in this match.
Yep.
Jungle Boy, it impresses me every time I see him wrestle. I'm like, how's this kid so good at such a young age with the little amount of experience he has?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of like he gets that from his dad, I think.
Yeah.
His dad didn't really have any acting experience, and then he took off and became one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. And
sure.
I think Jungle Boy's going to do the same in AEW.
Yeah, towards the end of the match, we saw Jungle Boy hit a perfect drop kick on Isaiah Cassidy, followed by a flurry of shots and a back elbow to Mark Quinn. Then Jungle Boy rebounded from the ropes with a clothesline and a deep brain buster on Quinn for a 2 count. Jungle Boy then hit a DDT for another near fall. Jungle Boy trapped Quinn with a snare trap, but Isaiah Cassidy ran in and broke it up. Christian Cage took Isaiah out of the ring. Quinn stacked Jungle Boy up for 2 counts. Private Party goes for the gin and juice, but while they're doing that, Christian comes in and hits a spear on Isaiah Cassidy. Jungle Boy then gets the snare trap locked in again on Mark Quinn, and Quinn taps right in front of Matt Hardy as Jungle Boy pulled off the big victory for him and Christian Cage. Post-match, Christian leaves Jungle Boy in the ring as Jungle Boy goes up to the turnbuckle to celebrate with the fans. And behind him is Matt Hardy, who hits a twist of fate on Christian, which I had texted you during the match. I think that's the direction they're going to go, Christian and Matt Hardy.
Yeah. This was a nice little way to kick off that feud.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of been building over the last few weeks. I'm glad we're not seeing Christian Cage versus Team Taz, though. I feel like Team Taz is in a feud every other week with somebody new.
Correct.
So I'm glad that Christian didn't get roped into that, and switching it to Matt Hardy with the history that they already have together. It's going to be a phenomenal match.
Yeah. I don't think this is something they wait till All Out or anything. I think this is going to be something played out on the episode of Dynamite. But I like it. I know Christian wants to get in the ring to mix up with the younger talent, but I like 2 veterans who haven't been able to wrestle in over a decade.
Yeah.
Against each other. I like them mixing it up one more time while they still can.
Yep.
Speaking of...
go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
Don't forget, they Private Party brought back the 5-second pose.
They did
it poorly, but they brought it back.
You're right. Good catch.
So I was joking with you. Well, that confirms it. Edge is all elite.
Yep. Hey, they tried to get him before he ultimately returned to WWE and at the Royal Rumble in 2020.
Yep.
Speaking of Team Taz, earlier you mentioned them. Backstage, we got Taz that was excited to announce next week that's going to be Powerhouse Hobbs and Brian Cage against Adam Hangman Page and a partner of his choosing from the Dark Order, which we later found out it was 10.
Yeah, I think 10's the perfect fit, honestly. I'm stoked for that match. I mean, I like 10, I like Hangman, and I like Brian Cage, so it's going to be a win-win either way for me.
Yep, I think I don't see Hangman losing this match, but I think the story of Brian Cage breaking away from Team Taz takes another step in that direction next week.
Yep. Although I thought it was pretty interesting that Ricky Starks just vanished in the middle of that promo.
Yep.
And Cage was looking at him and like nodding and said something to him. I couldn't make out what it was, but something happened there that obviously wasn't supposed to.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't catch that. I'll have to go back and watch that at a later time. We then got Sting. What?
Oh, I was just going to say when you've had sleep.
Yeah, when I've had a little sleep, when we both had sleep. We then get Sting and Darby Allin coming out to the ring. Sting begins to address about their match at Double or Nothing, saying it'll be something he'll never forget. He says the match alone stands up to anything he's ever done. The crowd chants in unison, "You still got it," which I think that chant gets over chanted, but not in this case. This case was well deserved. Steen thanks the crowd for their support. Then we see Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky pop up on the screen, and they're mockingly clapping for Darby and Sting. They end up trash talking them, and they challenge Darby to a match with anybody other than Sting because they think Sting carried Darby over the finish line in victory for that match. So it's got to be the Murder Hawk Monster Lance Archer, doesn't it?
I think so. I mean, it makes the perfect sense with him coming out after Sting for so many weeks, and Sting saying, "No, you deserve what you claim you deserve. I agree with you."
Right. I don't know where else they're going. I mean, he lost the TNT title or opportunity again, and if not this, then yeah, why did he come out with Sting and Darby so many times?
Yeah. I'm interested to see what'll happen though, because I think if it's Archer and Darby picks up the win again, it's going to be okay. Well, now you had somebody who was bigger than all of us put together. Find somebody your own size.
I think they could do a lot with Ethan Page against Darby in a one-on-one feud because there's a lot of history there. But yeah. Scorpio, I don't know.
I don't know. Ride it out until his contract ends.
Yeah, I'm starting to think he's one because let's be honest, not everybody's going to re-sign with AEW when their contract runs out, and I'm starting to think he's going to be one of them that goes elsewhere.
Yep, and maybe not so much elsewhere. Maybe he just kind of fades into the background, into a coaching position or doing work backstage with the company, and not in the ring anymore.
He's still pretty young though, I think. So yeah. I'd be probably. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. AEW's roster is getting so big. There's not a spot for everybody, even with another show coming on and Dark Elevation. There's still, it's hard to get TV time.
And all the EVPs have mentioned that throughout interviews as well, as we've got a stacked roster that we never anticipated to have.
Yeah, sometime we're gonna look back in the future and be like, wow, they had all those people together at once on the same roster. Kind of like I look back at TNA in like 08, 09. I'm like, holy cow, look at the roster. It was as stacked as a WWE roster at the time.
Yep. I've got a copy of the roster on my computer at work, and I don't even think it's complete, but it's just in male and female superstars. It's 3.5, 4 pages by itself.
Yep. I believe it. We then get Dr. Britt Baker, DMD's celebration party in the ring. She thanks everyone for celebrating with her after her massive championship victory against the longest reigning AEW Women's Champion of all time, Hikaru Shida. Nyla Rose spoils the ceremony by throwing all the cheeseburgers that kind of look like Big Macs out and popping all the balloons. Solid coming from a mile away. You could see her making facial expressions in the background. She likes to rip Britt Baker in promos, even off the camera on Ethan Page's vlog. She ripped her the other day. So it looks like we might get that feud, which is interesting because then that means Nyla's got to turn face.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've had heels go against heels before. So.
They have.
But I don't know. I like Nyla, but I don't want the belt on her again.
No, she's already won it. She's had it twice.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and yet, no, Britt's going to hold it for a long, long time. I don't think we have to worry about that. But besides Nyla, I don't know who else you put there to challenge Britt. Maybe Red Velvet.
I could see that. Jade Cargill.
Eventually. I think they want to build that up for a big match. But I'm saying in the meantime, I mean, I just don't know who are challengers for her. There's not a lot that come to mind right away. Statlander.
Big Swole, if she ever gets fully cleared.
Yeah, she was on TV tonight.
Yeah, which was nice to see. One of them you don't forget about because it's like you start to forget about her and she pops up on either Dark, Elevation, or BTE. So they never fully let you forget about her. But I don't know, maybe Anna Jay when she comes back.
Yeah. And they could always get Abaddon some wins, get her right there again. She was in the title picture there for a little while.
Yep.
So, they got something they can work with. Backstage, we alluded to this earlier in the podcast. Pac and Penta El Zero Miedo didn't want any of Eddie Kingston's help after he came in to save them earlier in the night, but Kingston told them to marinate this idea in their heads. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. He walked away, and Penta and Pac look at each other kind of confused, and as they walked away out of the camera.
I was thinking about something after that segment, and I didn't mention it in text because I wanted to see your reaction. It's got to be an interesting conversation in the Death Triangle because Penta doesn't speak very good English, if hardly at all. And I don't know, does Pac speak Spanish?
Maybe he does. Yeah, we don't know.
I mean, how do they have...
Or Phoenix translates because he does speak English.
Okay.
Not the greatest, but he speaks a lot better than Penta does. So
yeah, and normally when you see Ray on TV, they have him speak in Spanish, and Alex translates for him. So
yeah, I was gonna say, or no, that's for Penta.
Well, he
Alex,
did.
I've never really seen Alex with Phoenix.
Leading up to Archer Ray, they did that special backstage segment.
Okay.
And that's kind of, I think, where the whole Penta says thing came from, because he told Archer that, Ray says, and what it was.
Yeah, I missed that. They didn't bring that back. They
Yes.
were probably focusing on other areas of the Spanish commentary tonight to make sure nothing went off the rails.
Yeah, again.
Yeah. We then got a match between Red Velvet and the Bunny. It was nice to see the Bunny back on Dynamite. Red Velvet's got a lot of Dynamite time lately, but deservingly so. She gets better and better every time she gets in the ring. Scary looking spot that she ended up being okay, but Red Velvet did a suicide dive out to the Bunny, and the way she landed reminded me of when Lita broke her neck in WWE.
Yeah, I was watching very closely. She got up quick, so I was impressed, and she didn't seem to really have too many problems with it. So
yeah, I was glad she got up from that. Towards the end of the match, we see the Bunny hit a thrust kick, and the Blade slides the Bunny a pair of brass knuckles. The Red Velvet avoids getting hit by those and knocks the Bunny out 1, 2, 3, and picks up big win for herself.
Yes. Where did they go? Where did the knuckles go? Because it looked like they flew off her hand, but I never saw where they went.
No, and then
Red Velvet shoved something under her during the pin. I don't know if those were it or what.
I didn't pay close enough attention, to be honest. But, I keep forgetting the Butcher's out because he had some surgery. So
yes, he did.
We haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, and happy belated birthday to the Blade, by the way. He celebrated his birthday yesterday.
And Red Velvet did as well.
Yeah.
And Jade Cargill. And today was Johnny Hungy's birthday today.
And Riho.
Yeah, there's just been a lot lately. It's hard to keep, when your roster is that big, it's hard to keep up with all the birthdays.
That's why I have the roster, because we do celebrity birthdays on the radio, so I try to make sure I get those guys mentioned as well.
There you go. Backstage, we see Miro. He's ready to finish TNT Championship, which ends up being against Evil Uno. It was Johnny Hungy. Tony Khan was going to present him with a TNT title shot for his birthday, but John said his shoulder's still too banged up, so he's passing on to Evil Uno. So we get that match next week for the TNT Championship, as well as the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler versus Penta El Zero Miedo, Pac and Eddie Kingston, Heyman Page and 10 versus Brian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, a lot of cages and pages in AEW right now.
Too many. We then get the main event, which I kept thinking in my mind all night, what match am I missing? And it was this one.
I did too.
The bull rope match, Dustin Rhodes versus Nick Comoroto. Great for both these guys. Great for Dustin to finally get a main event match on Dynamite. This isn't his first one, but it's nice of him to get a solo match, and Comoroto to be in the biggest match of his career to date so far. Bull rope match, we expected a lot of blood, but surprisingly, I told you I thought Dustin was going to bleed buckets of blood, but he didn't get busted open. Comoroto did.
Yeah, and Comoroto isn't a bleeder. So it wasn't, there were drops of blood here and there and, on his face, obviously, but I was really looking forward to that Rhodes blood being shed. And that sounds evil of me, but it's what you expect. Every time Dusty was in one of those matches, he had blood.
And Cody and Dustin's sister on Twitter tweeted out that she provided the bull rope to this match, and now she believes she has provided a bull rope to every major U.S. wrestling promotion at one time or another.
Nice. That's a nice little mark on your resume.
Absolutely. The Rhodes families probably have a bunch of those around.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Hard-hitting match. This is a rivalry that's been building up between the Nightmare family and the Factory for the last couple of months. We saw Fuego del Sol get involved in the match, climbing on top of Comorato's back after Comoroto hit him. Comoroto then lawn darted him into the rest of the talent standing there at ringside. it's back and forth all the way through picture in picture. Back from the final commercial break, we saw Aaron Solos. He was at ringside with Camarado. He set up a table for Camarado on the outside, but Dustin cracked Camarado on the head with the belt. Camarado sent Dustin through the table with a nasty spine buster. Back in the ring, Camarado looks for a cover, but Dustin kicks out at 2. Colton Gunn then comes out of nowhere and takes care of Aaron Solo on the outside. Because remember, Austin Gunn is out with injury.
Yep.
Dustin hits the final reckoning for only a 1 count. Camarado kicks out and it pretty much pumps him up. After struggling to take Camarado off his feet with several shoulder tackles, Dustin knocks Camarado to the mat with a flying bulldog off the top rope, stacks Camarado up for the pinfall victory. And Dustin celebrates with the crowd as Dynamite goes off the air.
And I got to say, as we were getting set up to do this, I saw a tweet from Sammy Guevara. So if you follow Sammy's vlog, you know there's been this weird storyline with Fuego and Dustin that
father-son type.
Fuego's dad of some sort. And so Sammy tweeted out, he goes, Fuego just defending his dad.
Yeah. Sammy's got his own little vlog crew going. His vlog's getting popular more and more every week. Deservingly so. It's good stuff. But
absolutely.
Fuego's getting popular with the crowd too every week, with the Dynamite crowd, not just the dark crowd and elevation crowd.
Yep.
But yeah, good for Dustin to have his moment. I like that. It was surprising to me. I thought tonight was going to be a big night for the Factory. I thought the Factory was going to go over in both matches after they went over against Cody and Lee Johnson, but half and half, keep the rivalry going.
Yep, it does, and really solidifies the fact that the Rhodes are the masters of the bull rope.
Absolutely. Every time I see a bull rope match, it reminds me of Eddie Guerrero and JBL.
Yep, that's one of them that come to mind for me. I didn't really get to see Dusty do any bull rope matches, so I just have my parents telling me what Dusty did with those, or old footage. So yeah, the first one that comes to mind right away is Eddie and JBL.
Yep. All right, Paul, it's that time of night. Grade from 1 to, or I guess 0 to 10, and AEW Wrestler of the Night.
Well, I'll give you my grade, and then I'll let you give yours because I've got to still figure out who my wrestler is.
Fair.
I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Again, it was a good show. Could have been better. I understand that it was the first Dynamite after Double or Nothing, but there were just too many video packages for me.
There were a lot.
So, I mean, because there were 4 matches?
I feel like there was more than that.
4 or 5.
We had the tag match between the Bucks and Pac, and then we had the tag match with Cody and Lee Johnson against the Factory. We had the tag match with Christian and Jungle Boy. We had the women's match. We had the main event.
Yeah,
so 5. At least 5. If I'm not forgetting any other.
I guess that just some of them were a lot quicker than I anticipated. But it just,
we had a lot of in-ring segments. I mean, Mark Henry, the Inner Circle, Darby and Sting, Britt Baker, and then we also had backstage stuff. So just a lot of crammed into one. And for whatever reason, these Friday night shows the last 2 weeks have really felt like 2-hour shows to me. They haven't flown by like the Wednesday nights do.
Oh, exactly. I completely agree with you. I was sitting there looking at the clock and I went, oh, it's only 11 o'clock.
That's not good when we're saying that. That's why my letter grade or my number grade tonight's a 6.
Okay.
One of the lower ones I've given it. I mean, I enjoyed a lot of the show. I liked how a lot of the builds they're starting to do, but there's a lot of times I was looking at my phone during the matches and on Twitter and stuff. I'm like, what am I doing? I need to be paying attention, but I'm like, it's just time was going slow, and I'm like, I want this back on Wednesdays.
Too late. It's too late. That's a lot of the problem.
It is. You're right. So it was nothing against the performers. It just wasn't one of those episodes I was really, really, really into. But it's better than nothing. Better than any other wrestling promotion out there, in my opinion. So
yes.
Who is your wrestler of the night?
After a lot of consideration, I'm going to go Red Velvet.
Oh, I like that. I like that pick.
She deserved that win. It was her Big Swole fell to the knuckles. So
looks like Paul froze on my end there. Paul, I don't know if you need to reconnect or I'll look for you to. Oh, no, you're back. Paul's back.
I'm back.
You're back.
Yes. I was just saying, I kind of think that, we saw Big Swole, who is more of a star than her, lose to those knuckles previously. So for her to come out on top, avoid the knuckles, and get in my opinion, a big win.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that pick a lot. I'm going to go with more of the easy pick tonight, I guess. Dustin Rhodes winning the main event, winning the Bull Rope match. Don't know how many more times he's going to get that opportunity to get a big win like that, singles win in AEW, because he's all about building the younger talent and everything. So, which is great. So I'm going to give him my Wrestler of the Week award. So
I almost went with Dustin, but I figured you would, so I wanted to pick somebody else.
See, I'm getting too predictable.
No, not really. Just for the same reasons. I would have picked Dustin for the exact same reasons you did.
Any other thoughts on Dynamite tonight before we switch gears and talk about one other topic before we wrap the show up?
Come back to Wednesdays.
Yes, please, July 7th.
or at least 8 p.m., one of the two.
Yeah. I'm really hoping the Saturday shows in 2 weeks are 8 p.m. because 10 p.m. on Saturday could be pretty rough too.
Yeah.
Maybe not as rough as a 10 p.m. on a Friday, but
well, I live on the main drag in town, so if we're doing this at this time on a Saturday night, you could easily be hearing cops go flying by my house.
It is what it is. So I don't live too far from you. So but one of the other promotions out there, World Wrestling Entertainment, the WWE, made some shockwaves around with another batch of cuts this week. On Wednesday, it was announced Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select said some more cuts were coming, but he wasn't going to let everybody know until those talents were notified, of course, because Sean's the best in the business, and that's how you should do it. But when those cuts came out, and there was speculated there was going to be some big names, it still made my eyebrows raise. Headliners Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Lana, Ruby Riott, Buddy Murphy, and Santana Garrett.
I didn't know Santana Garrett, so that one kind of,
NXT talent that was supposed to come up to SmackDown in the very near future.
Okay. Aleister just came back. Even he said that.
They literally just had him wrestle a week ago.
Yeah. So,
Braun was just in the triple threat of the pay-per-view.
Yeah. This was
main event.
Yeah. Ruby just had a match for the tag titles.
Lana, it sounded like, was pitching everything she could under the sun to creative, trying everything she could. Buddy Murphy, guy approves every time he gets in the ring, done everything he was asked for. So they stayed as budget cuts. That's what it was, text out to their whole roster. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Is it for sale?
I don't like to speculate. I don't think it is now, but I think it's moving in that direction. I think gears are turning.
See, I saw somewhere, and again, this is all speculation. None of this has ever been confirmed or denied. But that's why the network moved to Peacock, was to see how people would react to a big company like that having the rights to that.
Even if they don't get sold, their TV right deals are going to be up in a couple of years, and NBC might want, to try to get the rights back for SmackDown. And, there's a lot of speculation too. There's a big, strong rumor this week that Brock Lesnar is going to be making his return at SummerSlam. If that's the case, maybe they need to clear out some money for him. And it's time. Brock Lesnar needs to come back to wrestling, no matter what promotion. The guy draws attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not a big Lesnar fan. I was in his first run when he left for the MMA. I kind of lost interest in him, but whether you like the man or hate the man, you're talking about him when he's on TV.
Absolutely. And one thing I always like about him, I find his matches entertaining because they're kind of unpredictable. A lot of times he's going to win, but he sells a lot for his opponents. I mean, and a lot of people, guys that work with him, I mean, he might not do it for the right motives. He's doing it for the cash. But when he's in there, he takes it serious and he makes his opponents look good. He's got to work his butt off with them. So
unless he's just slaughtering John Cena.
Right. At least he did it safely. But Cena's another rumor. I mean, it sounds like they're trying to really build SummerSlam into a huge card. But anyways, back to those 6 people released. Who would you like to see in AEW to begin with? And then my follow-up question is, who do you realistically think they will end up with? And I don't know when they're going to be eligible. If it's a normal 90 days contract, that'll be up right before All Out. But there's some speculation that they won't be able to compete until the week after All Out.
Right. It was from the release, All Out was 94 days away. So if it's a normal 90-day, they could compete. If it's not, then they'll be like Andrade. They'll be showing up the Dynamite after.
Yep.
I honestly, Aleister Black and Ruby Riott, I think they would be perfect fits.
And would you be okay if they didn't sign any of these 6?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Either way. I mean, I've got a feeling, whether we like it or not, Lana's coming to AEW.
I think that's a no-brainer. I think Tony's going to get it. I mean, Miro mentioned his wife tonight.
Yep. And for the first time since winning the title, CJ Perry, Lana, tweeted congratulations to him. So
she's allowed to now.
Yes, she couldn't before. So, I mean, just like a certain dead guy hasn't congratulated his girlfriend yet for winning a title.
They took a picture together with the title.
Oh, well, yeah, and he probably got yelled at for that too.
Yeah, care. They're not gonna ever call him up. So
no, I know, and
which
like
actually, I honestly think he don't want to go up.
No, and like I told you, if for some godforsaken reason they pull Adam Cole to the main roster, 6 months he'll be out. He'll be asking for his release, or he'll be a budget cut.
I'm not gonna disagree with you there because we've seen it too many times.
Yep.
But so Ruby Riott and Aleister Black are the 2 you want, and I'm right there with you. I think Ruby, they're gonna have the first ever women's battle royal, casino battle royal at All Out. She can look like the Joker. Dye her hair green, boom, there's your Joker.
Yep. And she's already kind of been doing that in the WWE.
Yeah.
So, and it's what Heidi Lovelace.
Yep.
What she's
originally from Evansville, Indiana, Paul.
Yes. Yep. She is a Hoosier.
Yep. Like you and me. So, I heard that was the one that the talent was most disappointed in that got released because she's got a great attitude backstage. So that's the type of person you want in your locker room. And Aleister Black, I mean, my gosh, the WWE dropped the ball on him. I mean, his entrance, phenomenal. He just had to look. He had the it factor. He got in the ring. He'd kick people's heads off the way he worked. He's familiar with a lot of the AEW talent from his PWG days. I just think it makes a lot of sense. Now, what they do with it, I would love for them to pair him with Sting and Darby. Kind of have a Papa Bear, a middle bear, and a younger bear. I would love that.
Goldilocks and the 3 bears minus Goldilocks.
Yeah, I would love that. I don't even think they have to explain it too much. Just have him be on the side of the road. He's hitchhiking. Sting picks him up in the Cadillac. And Darby hops in, or Darby's already in there with skateboard. And like, come on, and off they go to wherever venue that is that week.
Yep. That, or what I'd really love is like Darby and Sting to be in a match, or doing something Darby in a match and Sting out there, end of match, the opponents attack Sting and Darby, the lights go out, and his music hits.
It'll be interesting too. Say he does end up in AEW if Selena comes with him.
Yeah.
Especially with Andrade in the company now.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, Andrade and Vicky.
Oh God,
Vicky's great, but leave her with Nyla.
He doesn't need anybody.
No, leave her with Nyla.
Yeah. He's got the it factor. Look at the guy. He just
and it was interesting. There was no real pop for him because I think everybody was just stunned. Like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was.
Everybody's looking at each other when this is going on.
Yeah,
and to me, that's the reaction you want when you debut. You don't want a loud scream from everybody. You want to, huh? What just happened?
AEW still got the surprise factor. They're still doing a very good job at the surprise factor.
And I gotta say, this just broke the normal TNT rule of you can't make surprises anymore. You got to tell us so we can announce it.
You're right, but
it worked.
They Tony must have let them know ahead of time. I like with Sting. I don't think he let anybody know, which I wouldn't have either because it's hard to keep stuff under wraps. But I agree. I want Alistair and Ruby, right? Are the two I want. And I think they will end up in AEW, and I think Lana will too. I think Buddy Murphy ends up in New Japan. I don't know enough about Santana Garrett. And I think Braun, if he wants to wrestle, I think New Japan would be a great spot for him. But I'm not so sure I know he's only 37, but he's made a lot of money, has a lot more money that's going to be going in his bank account. I'm not so sure he wants to continue doing this.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think AEW is a good land for the big guys. I mean,
no.
It's a little guy promotion.
And one thing I got to say with Braun, he spent a lot of time several months back dogging on AEW.
Yes, he did. Luchasaurus.
For him to show up there, it wouldn't work.
Independent talent as a whole, that's why he could have a tough time out there in some promotions. But WWE dropped the ball with him too. I mean, they should have had him go over Brock. I mean, heck, this was a guy who was just against one of the McMahons at this year's WrestleMania. That's not a bad spot to be in when you're against a McMahon.
No.
So I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
But again, they were. Don't get me started on the McMahon-Braun feud.
It was awful, but I'm just saying, if you're against a Shane or a Vince at WrestleMania, you're pretty good on the card. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not just a blower match.
And everybody thought Braun was safe regardless because he was Vince's boy. Vince has got those things for those big guys. Oh, big guys' muscles. Ah! But no, obviously that's not the case.
Yep. No, I don't know. This company, when I see stuff, for one, I never want to see somebody lose their job.
No.
I know they're all six going to be fine. They're going to land on their feet. And they'll be fine. But, and two, it's just anymore, I just shake my head. Like, this company, man, it's gone downhill so much in the last 5 years. And I'm just so thankful AEW's around because I don't know if I would be watching pro wrestling if it wasn't for them.
Exactly. And I sent you a picture earlier this week. There's like 20 people on SmackDown, and that's it.
Yeah.
The roster is pathetic.
8 women.
Yeah.
Like 7 tag teams. Just like, that's why they've had scouting down at NXT all week. They're going to do a bunch of call-ups. So
they have to. I mean, they don't have a roster left anymore. They just demolished it. But I will say one thing: with everybody losing their job, I'm so glad to see the talent coming together to support them.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as Alexa Bliss, her and Buddy Murphy dated for a while. That went south. They haven't talked a whole lot since, but she even defended Buddy Murphy that he shouldn't have been let go.
Sure.
So,
yeah, we'll have to see if it's the last amount of releases, and this kind of overshadows the first group of releases, which are going to be able to come up on TV here in about a month.
Mm-hmm.
In SRS of Fightful reported that he knows for a fact one of those releases is going to pop up at Impact, but doesn't have. He wouldn't name who, of course, and the contract isn't signed yet. But he said there is one confirmed out of those.
Samoa Joe going home?
Hope not. I want to see him in AEW, but I also know everybody can't go to AEW, and I don't want that because I want AEW's grown stars. I mean, look what they're doing with Darby, Sammy, Jungle Boy right now. MJF, of course, but Darby, Sammy, and Jungle Boy especially right now. I mean, that's what I'm all about. So, but I do like where they can fit pieces in here and there. I like that, and the Iconics. I would love to see them. I'm all for adding more women to the women's division. So.
Yep. Build it. maybe not get a women's tag title division.
Yeah.
Unless, you have a deep women's tag title division, not just 4 or 5 teams and then throw women together.
Right.
Stack it if you're going to.
Right. So, trios title, I think, coming next. Don't know when, absolutely. But I think maybe after Rampage starts.
Inner Circle, the first champions. Who do you think would be?
They do need some gold. Gosh, that's a good question. Death Triangle makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Interesting thing. Commentary said that this was the first time Pac and Penta had tagged together as the Death Triangle.
Well, Phoenix and Pac were the team kind of for a while. So when Penta was out with an injury,
I couldn't remember.
That whole team together hasn't been together very much because Pac was over quarantined. Yeah, couldn't come over more than a couple times, and then the Lucha Bros can't stay healthy. But that's what happens when Phoenix goes 25 rows into the stands with dives. So,
yeah, when he comes back, he's going to try to beat Darby's current record. I'm telling you. He'll be like, "Oh, you remember what you did at Double or Nothing? Watch this."
Yeah. It's like Mr. Warren Hayes and I were talking when I interviewed him. Like, those two are just gonna keep trying to top the other until somebody like dies. Even though Warren said, he could see Phoenix getting all pumped up and Darby.
Yeah, he'll have the Orange Cassidy kind of effect on it. But okay, good for you.
Whatever.
So. Yeah, watch this. I went down a flight of stairs. What'd you do?
Right. And I got Ego's Edge into the crowd. So
yeah,
which was nuts. Ethan Page's a lot stronger than he looks.
Yeah.
Not that he looks weak. He just doesn't look absolutely huge, and he's obviously pretty strong.
So. And before we sign off here, congratulations to Ethan Page, who announced that he's going to be a father again. And to Hangman Adam Page, who's going to be a first-time father.
Yeah, Hangman and his wife got to be first-time father. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Glad you brought that up, Paul. That's always exciting to see.
I totally forgot that Hangman had a wife. I don't know how I forgot, but I did.
I had no idea. So I learned something new yesterday. So.
Well, if you go back to BTE right as COVID started, she was on it, but
yeah, I guess I do remember that. Yeah. In thoughts to Brandy Rhodes as she lost the remaining Cheese Boys. She lost Colby Jack last year and then Monterey Jack now.
Yep.
It's too bad, but they're going to be expecting, of course, the little one, little Princess Rhodes coming in the world here soon. And they got Pharaoh and Yeti. So,
yeah.
All is still good in the Rhodes household.
And you'll be able to hear it. I almost have the interview ready, but when I interviewed the Rhodes, Cody said he wants to buy a ranch, so like a farm and get a bunch of farm animals and all that. So that's what's next for the Rhodes. This was before kids, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think this latest thing kind of changed their plans a little bit. So.
We'll see.
We'll see, though. Who knows with them? So
yeah.
All right, Paul. Before you sign us off, just reminding everybody that it's just going to be me next week, or maybe I'll grab somebody from Twitter. I don't know, but same time, about 10 minutes after Dynamite. And you can follow the Kicking Out Podcast. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Kicking Out Pod. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please give us a rating and a review. That really helps us out a lot. Cannot stress that enough. Please give us a rating and review. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tannerly92, and Paul is at Paul Zartman921. That's all I got for this week, Paul.
And for that, join Tanner next Friday night. I get a week off, got a date night with the wife, and this was set up before Dynamite decided to go to Friday nights at 10 o'clock.
They're killing us.
I know. So best of luck to you next week, Tanner. I will be watching, maybe not live, but I will watch it Saturday. So
sounds good.
For Tanner Lee, I'm Paul Zartman. Thanks for staying up late with us, and we'll talk to you again next week as Tanner kicks out yet another podcast.